2025 Honda Accord Hybrid. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Honda Accord Hybrid, finished in platinum white pearl, in case you were curious of our exact exterior color name that we have with us here today. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Accord Hybrid is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 1, indicating that the new Accord Hybrid is built and assembled here in the US, in case you were curious. But starting up front, active grille shutters will come standard for all trims across the board, meaning the grille shutters are going to open and close dependent upon the engine cooling that is needed at any given time. Ground clearance comes in at 5.3 inches, in case you were curious about that. To the sides, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights coming standard. You do get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams, meaning if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. And when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up the high beams for you there. So I personally love that one. And then to the bottom corners there, you guys can see it kind of highlighted in silver. There's some front air curtains helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination. But definitely a very good look. I love the low hood line on the Accord, just like on the Civic as well. I think it makes for a much more aggressive look up front, but that pretty much rounds out the front end of this one. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of the Accord here, to the top, chrome upper window trim will come standard for all trim levels. Power adjustable side mirrors, they're going to be finished in gloss black for the sport trim levels, but then body colored for the EXL and Touring. Heated side mirrors with integrated turn signals for the EXL and Touring as well. And then you also got the reverse gear tilt down feature for the Touring that we have with us here today. Then take a look down at the bottom there, you got gloss black side skirts. It ties together pretty darn good with the gloss black front lip and then the gloss black in the back as well. So overall, I think that looks pretty darn good. Then take a look down at the wheel setup, 19-inch alloys for the sport trims and the Touring, and then 17-inch alloys for the EXL trim level. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Accord Hybrid here, all the way to the top, you will find a body colored shark fin antenna. If you wanted a rear spoiler, go with one of the sport trim levels. That is how you're going to go ahead and get that. It's going to be gloss black, by the way, as well. LED taillights do come standard for all trim levels across the board. I always love that. Also love, though, the Honda logo. It's so tiny. It's like a 90s throwback Honda logo. If you guys watched my last Accord review, you guys know I said that too, so just something I personally love. But then just underneath of it all, you do have a single exhaust outlet. It is tucked away underneath on the passenger side there. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Accord, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, there is a button on the key fob. There's also, of course, a rubberized button on the trunk itself then as well. Once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at an impressive 16.7 cubic feet. That's a ton of space. That's more than the Sonata. But if that was not enough space, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down for quite a bit of extra space then if you needed it. There is some cargo lighting back there. You do have 2 grocery bag hooks as well, which you very rarely see on sedans. That's pretty cool. Then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you do have a tire repair kit along with a little bit of in-floor storage to go along with it. Wish there was a spare tire back there, but that's okay. But then make your way up to the rear legroom. That is going to come in at 40.8 inches. That's a ton of rear legroom. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had back there. For reference, Sonata Hybrid comes in at 34.8, so that is a substantial difference between those two. You really do have luxury like rear legroom here in the Accord. Rear ventilation coming standard back there. You got dual rear USB charging ports for all trim levels. Rear center armrests with cup holders as well. Heated rear seats for the Touring that we have with us here today. You gotta love that. And I think the only thing the Sonata has that the Accord doesn't is rear window sunshades, but the Accord does have more space for the rear passengers though. But then making our way up to the front seats, 10-way power adjustable driver's seat with 2-way power lumbar for all trim levels, power adjustable passenger seat for the EXL and up, heated front seats for all trim levels, cloth seating for the Sport, leather seating for the EXL trim level and up. You're going to have ventilated front seats for the Touring. As far as seat comfort goes, it was brilliant. I had absolutely no issues with seat comfort. I think it was a lot more comfortable than the Sonata, in my personal opinion, when it comes to that. Then taking a look at the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping. 10 and 2 grips are definitely on the thicker side of things, which I always personally appreciate. Leather wrap steering wheel for all trim levels, and then heated steering wheel for the Touring. The heated steering wheel button is located on the bottom portion of the steering wheel. Then make your way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key. You got your Honda logo on the one side. When you flip it over, lock, unlock, that button to pop the trunk there, and the circular button, that is your remote start, and that comes standard on all trim levels across the board, but it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that red engine start button, kind of located just to the left of the center air vents there. But once started up, you do have a digital gauge cluster, fuel information found all the way to your right, battery information found all the way to your left there. Speedometer is going to be kind of on the right hand side. There is a digital speedometer as well. It gives you your outside temperature. It looks like trip A, trip B, of course. Do wish the driving modes kind of adjusted the look of the digital gauges a little bit more since they are digital. Manufacturers really have so much opportunity to really customize them and make them unique, and the Sonata did a really good job of that because it's a different look with each driving mode. It's a substantial different look, so would have loved to have seen Honda do that as well to really make this car even better. But anyways, they're not bad. It's just they could be better. That's all I'm saying. Now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. You're going to find a power moonroof for all trim levels across the board. You gotta love that. LED interior lighting for all trim levels as well. You got an overhead sunglass holder. It's a very high quality overhead sunglass holder as well. I liked that. Auto dimming rear view mirror for the EXL and Touring trim levels. Dual zone climate control for all trim levels across the board. Wireless phone charger. All trim levels are actually going to get that as well. I'm a big fan of that. No ambient lighting, unfortunately. That is something that the Sonata does give you, but I do like all the gloss black finishes found just surrounding the climate control vents up front here, also surrounding the power window buttons on the doors. Sport pedals are going to come with the sport trim level. Just in front of the shifter, you have that wireless phone charger, a couple USB charging ports. To the right of the shifter, you got your dual cup holders. Then within the center armrest, there's actually a ton of storage within there. Quite honestly, you got a 12-volt power outlet in there as well, which is always nice to see. But overall, it certainly gets the job done. I personally didn't have any issues with the interior quality, but now let's go ahead and make our way to this massive infotainment screen. It is a 12.3-inch colored touchscreen display, exact same size as a Sonata Hybrid. Bluetooth and audio streaming up there, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, but it is wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, so that is pretty stinking cool. You got a compass you can display up there. It looks like your typical Honda clocks at the very last screen there. I liked that. I always like the Honda clocks. I don't know why I do. Just an old school thing at this point. I think it's pretty cool. Got your radio information up there, of course, as well. So when it comes to the sound systems, essentially you get 8 speakers and 180 watts for all trim levels but the Touring. The Touring is going to give you a 12-speaker Bose sound system, exactly the same as the Sonata Hybrid. That's funny. So anyways, let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. That's actually pretty good. Now that was FM radio, so I wasn't really able to get a full glimpse of the clarity, so to speak, but I can tell there was a good bit of bass though, and Bose has been around for a long time now. They're a very reputable company, so you're definitely not going to have any issues there. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen is when you do put the Accord Hybrid in reverse, you will find a rear view camera. 3 different viewpoints in the bottom left-hand corner, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so here's another little comparison for you guys. The Accord Hybrid is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, where the Sonata Hybrid is an IIHS Top Safety Pick. So they're both good. The Accord is a little bit better, but front side current airbags do come standard. You get driver and passenger knee airbags up front as well. You also get rear side impact airbags. That's an option usually on Mercedes-Benz and BMW, so pretty cool that that comes standard on the Accord Hybrid. Also in the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors to tether your children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Honda sensing. That gives you really a ton. That gives you a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, collision mitigation braking system, rear departure mitigation system, lane keep assist, traffic jam assist, adaptive cruise control, traffic sign recognition, and a driver attention monitoring system as well. It is a good bit, like I said. And then the EXL and Touring is going to add to that parking sensors, which is always very nice as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts of the Accord Hybrid, there is a ton of space in this one, especially when you compare it to the Sonata Hybrid. The Accord Hybrid clearly has more cargo space and a ton more rear legroom. So if you wanted to spoil the rear passengers with extra rear legroom, go ahead and go with the Accord Hybrid, because that's how you're going to get it. But great MPGs as well. You know, it's funny, if you were comparing those two again, the very most MPGs you can get is 51. The interesting thing though is the Accord Hybrid gives it to you in the city, whereas the Sonata Hybrid gives you 51 on the highway. So it's kind of interesting how their hybrid systems are a little bit different. One is made to give you a little better MPGs in the city and the other on the highway. I don't know. Also, another thing I love about the Accord Hybrid is that Consumer Reports gave it above average reliability, which is so hard to get from Consumer Reports at this point in the game, believe it or not, because so many cars are turbocharged. So it's a very hard rating to get. So that is still what Honda is known for when it comes to the Accord Hybrid here. So I'm a huge fan of that one. Very good styling as well. In terms of styling, I think I now like the styling of the Accord better than the Sonata since they redid the Sonata, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, this thing is nearly perfect in my mind. I think the one thing that would make it perfect would be an available all-wheel drive system. And now that's not offered for the Sonata either, but still, we're sitting surrounded by a heck of a ton of snow right now, and I think if Honda offered all-wheel drive on the Accord Hybrid, it would do even that much better. So even if it takes down the MPGs a little bit, still offer it. I think it'll sell. But that's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching.